When people are shown this survey, it's very important that if they are happy with their Catholic school, that they let that be known. The danger of complacency. I like my school, I don't need to get involved in this, the school is fine. They do need to get involved. And I would ask people, if they have a child in school or going to be starting school, to let their voice be heard if they appreciate what the Catholic school does.
Hello and welcome to The Way. I'm Wendy Grace and I'm joined in studio by one of the auxiliary bishops of Dublin, Donal Roche. So what's an auxiliary bishop? What's their role? And how come Dublin has two of them? We'll be talking about that and some of the work that Bishop Donal has been doing since he became an auxiliary bishop. Thanks for being with us, Bishop Donal. Okay, so what's an auxiliary bishop all about?
Well, auxiliary means assistant. So I'm an assistant to the Archbishop. Because of the size of Dublin, it's just so big, it's difficult for the Archbishop to look after it all himself. So he's appointed two auxiliaries, myself and Bishop Dempsey. We used to have 5 auxiliaries in Dublin some years ago, going back maybe 20 years. And the diocese is divided into 5 areas, and each had their own auxiliary bishop. Now we only have the 2, but
That's a big load of work for
it's a
you.
lot of work, yeah, but it'll certainly help in the Archbishop. We can take some of the load off him. He can share it out among us.
Yeah, I think people forget how big the Dublin diocese is compared to maybe other parts of the country. So what kind of falls under um, your umbrella that you have to look after? How does it all work?
Well, we do a lot of confirmations. That'll be a big part of the work for 3 months of the year. But other than that, it's visiting parishes, visiting communities, visiting schools, and particularly supporting priests. At the moment, we have priests who have health issues. They're getting on. We've an aging age profile, so we're there to hopefully support priests and communities, and to try to make a kind of a plan for the future, which is difficult. But we're just trying to support what's happening, looking to the future. Our Building Hope project.
Says I often see a situation like you're mentioning, Bishop Donal, where you have, say, a priest who's, I know in my own parish, he's only just got to go on a sabbatical, in their 70s, working so hard, doing the job of 3 priests.
Yeah.
Um, and, oftentimes, is there anyone to replace them?
Yeah, that is a worry. We have some signs of hope in vocation numbers are increasing, but only slightly, but they're going in the right direction. But we don't have nearly enough to replace the ones who are getting older and retiring.
Are we now mission territory? I mean, in the
Yeah,
past, when we had lots of vocations, Irish priests and religious would have gone overseas. And now I know in other parts of the world there's plenty of
yeah.
vocations happening, particularly in Africa, for example. Is it just now, okay, we're mission territory and now it's our turn to receive priests
That,
from other nations?
that is it. And we are receiving priests from other nations, and they see themselves as coming on mission. They're not just coming to help out, they see it as a mission, that they have faith. And very often, I think particularly some of the Africans, they would say they were educated by Irish priests or nuns or brothers themselves, and have a real sense of gratitude for that. And they're coming to give something back.
So yeah, it's paying it,
And
not paying it forward, isn't it?
yes, they see it that way, that they are literally coming on mission because, as we know, the church has gone through very difficult times. There's definitely a turning that we can see, not just the priests from overseas, but the congregations from Africa, India, the Philippines, Brazil, everywhere. They are bringing new life, new vibrancy into parishes now. And I'm hoping that they will play some part too in the re-evangelizing of the Irish. But certainly the priests who have come from overseas are coming on mission.
Is that something that is a good news story that we're not hearing about enough? Because especially in recent weeks, there's been so much awful stuff happening in terms of violence and protests towards those who've come to Ireland
Yeah.
from other countries, from some of them from really difficult situations. I'm seeing what you're seeing in just my local parish, people from so many different countries enriching our communities.
Yeah.
Has the church and have you seen the church and our schools as well being a welcoming place, an inclusive place for people coming from different countries?
Without a doubt. And I'm seeing that everywhere I go, in parishes and in schools, that people are saying to me that they do feel welcome and they are made to feel very welcome here. And maybe we need to get that message out a bit more because, yeah, there's no doubt there have been very difficult situations and some very threatening situations for some of the people who've come here. the parish that they go to, though, they find that they are welcome. We could do more, though. I do notice that there's not very many people from overseas, say, involved in parish councils or finance
That level
committees.
of
There
integration
needs to be a bit
needs to
more
happen,
done
yeah.
that way, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lovely event I've heard happening in a few churches where everybody after a mass one day brought a dish from their
Oh,
country and all the
yeah.
different nationalities that were represented. It was just incredible to see. You mentioned there, Bishop John, a big part of your work is around, say, confirmation. So you'd be doing a lot of work with Catholic schools. This is quite an interesting time because there's a survey happening at the moment,
Mm.
basically asking people who have children of primary school going age, what type of schools do you want in your area? Do you want Catholic schools? Do you want a multi-denominational school? What are you seeing in terms of the the richness that Catholic schools are bringing to communities, and are people happy with them?
By and large, my experience is that they are, and I've been involved in schools for the last 35, 40 years nearly, and particularly when I was in parishes. I was in Lucan and in Wicklow, and we had huge numbers of people from overseas, particularly in Lucan especially. I remember something like 35 different nationalities, and there was a great life and great richness and a great welcome for all of these. But I just think that they appreciate the Catholic school, and it's something that we need to be very mindful of with this survey. Yes, we probably have too many. 90 something percent of the schools in the country are Catholic schools.
So school choice is
Yeah,
important, but we don't want to
important to
throw
have
the
choice.
baby out with the
Yeah,
bathwater
it is
either.
important to have
Yeah.
choice, but when people are shown this survey, it's very important that if they are happy with their Catholic school, that they let that be known. The danger of complacency. I like my school. I don't need to get involved in this. The school is fine. They do need to get involved. And I would ask people if they have a child in school or going to be starting school to let their voice be heard if they appreciate what the Catholic school does. It is providing a rounded education. People often caricature it as in a very narrow way of force feeding or proselytizing children and making them into Catholics. That is not the case. Absolutely not the case. People are exposed and open to the gospel and the message of the gospel. Nobody's forced to accept it, but they are given this warm, welcoming place where they can grow in faith and make their own choices. But it's important that they're given that opportunity to go to Catholic school.
It sounds like you've had a lot of positive experiences then when you're interacting with students, doing confirmation and things like that in terms of their engagement with the school and the sacraments.
I have, and yet I'm noticing as well every year is a growing number of children opting out of confirmation. There might be two or three in a class not receiving, and that's a positive thing. I think that they're thinking about it and they're not just going along with it because everybody else is. So it does make more of a choice. And another really positive thing I noticed in the last year, not a huge number, but a small number of teenagers approached me after confirmation to say they hadn't been confirmed themselves. They were here because it was their younger brother or sister making the confirmation. I didn't do it myself at the time. I didn't believe. Now I have come to faith and I want to make my confirmation. I've had that experience at least 3 times in the last 2 months. And that's something very positive as well. But that people are making a choice about it rather than just seeing it as a school event. We go along because everybody else is doing it. That I think is a very positive thing.
So you've seen the real richness and positive impact that Catholic schools are having, but while acknowledging, look, there does obviously need to be divestment, but the church is actively trying to do that.
It is, but parents by and large are happy with what they have. Even if they're not church-going parents, they may not be at mass every week. There's still a greater appreciation for the schools than a lot of people realise. That people are very happy with the ethos that they have, celebrating the feast days and just having prayer in the classroom. I think people appreciate that, and it'll be a shame to lose it. So I just think it's important that people appreciate their schools and let the survey people know that they are appreciated.
Well, Bishop Donal, thanks so much for joining us. It's been great to chat to you about some of the work that you're doing and indeed about the importance of our Catholic schools. Thanks for being with us today.
Thank you.